Hey, welcome back, guys. Today we are starting chapter 26, Fighting a War. All right. Good morning, Wareham. How we doing? Right now, we're going to kind of get in more detail about the war. We learned the basics of the war last chapter, which is good because it gives you a sense of what happened, but it's pretty sparse on the details and important things you should know about the American Revolution, which was a success, and we have a great country, and it's still here, despite some people breaking in and causing trouble in our capital. The senators and congressmen still got the vote done, and we've elected a new president. And though it was tried to be interfered with, it was not. And that's something good, and that's what we fought for as a country, and that's what we still have. We're the oldest democratic republic in the world, and even though we're a young country, which is a little unusual, right? But we're still here, and we're still doing it, and that's something to be thankful for. So even though I know last Wednesday was a little scary, a lot of images of people doing things, they failed, and America won, and our votes, no matter who you voted for, even if you lost, our votes counted. I think that's important. That we've come together and agreed to transfer power peacefully. It's okay to protest, by the way. Those people should have protested, and that's fine. But when they came and broke the law, and broke things and disobeyed the law, and went into a federal building, that's not okay. So hopefully we learned that in life, that it's okay to protest. Like I know we did in Wareham. That was a peaceful protest earlier in the summer. That's okay, even for whatever cause. I'm not trying to say what side you should be on, but let's agree to argue and debate. I just wanted you to know that. I think we talked about it last week anyway. All right, so let's get on to the revolution, shall we? Okay. After we won, well, we kind of lost Bunker Hill, but we kind of won it. We won Lexington and Concord. We kicked the British out of Boston. Things are all right, woohoo! Yeah, no. Now British sent their big guns, their big army, and we started losing. And this will be about that. If you write a book of history, you'll find the hardest part is deciding what to put in the book and what to leave out. That's a problem I'm having right now. It has to do with the Revolutionary War. If I write about all the battles and all the things that the Continental Congress was doing and all the important people, well, that would take several books. So, what to leave out? To begin with, description of some battles. It's not just that they were boring or unimportant. There just isn't room to tell all about them all. Of course, you can read about them on your own. To be honest, maybe that I'm skipping some of the war because it was all so dreary and cold and discouraging. After Bunker Hill, Sullivan's Island, and Great Bridge, and nothing seemed to go right for the Americans. Just thinking about it is painful. Poor General Washington. No one else would have put up with all the hardships. In wintertime, his soldiers almost froze. Some actually did. And many didn't have shoes or enough food to eat or proper guns to use. An act of Congress read, "The pay of officers and privates as follows. Privates, $6.02 per month." That's about $6.33. Sergeants, $8. Captains, $20. Now, $6 was worth a whole lot more then than it is today, but it still wasn't much. Out of that pay, the soldiers were to find their own arms and clothes. Congress couldn't even pay for guns or uniforms, and those salaries hardly ever got paid. Congress seemed to spend its time talking and not doing much else. It just didn't have any money. Talk about frustration. Most of the soldiers would have run off, deserted, if it hadn't been for the respect for General Washington. As it was, some did desert. Many others signed up for only 3 months. These were citizen soldiers, not professionals like the Europeans. As soon as Washington got them trained, it was time for them to go home. For all his cool under fire, Washington was said to have had a fierce temper. He must have had a hard time keeping it under control those first months after he took charge. Everything seemed to go wrong. The British didn't just sit around and let the colonies rebel. They sent an army to put down the revolution. One day, in the summer of 1776, a New Yorker named Daniel McCurtain looked out his window and saw that wooden mass of hundreds of British ships. He described what he saw. "I spied, as I peered out, something resembling a wood of pine trees. The whole bay was full of shipping. I thought all London was afloat." Those ships were full of soldiers. The British were landing an army in New York. General Washington had his army in New York too, but his men were inexperienced and the British were not. On Long Island, a part of New York, the Americans marched into a trap. They were outnumbered, they panicked, they did many things wrong. The war might have been over right then, soon after it began, but Washington knew when to retreat and save his men, and he had some luck. The luck came in the form of fog, thick fog. The cool general decided to move his troops from Long Island across the East River to Manhattan Island. He had more luck. Massachusetts fishermen were manning the boats. Their eyes were used to fog. Before the British knew what had happened, the Americans were across the river and saved to fight again. Most of the soldiers the Americans fought were not even British. They were German, called Hessians, because many of them came from Hesse in Germany. Remember, Europe had been fighting wars for centuries. Large numbers of men in Europe spent their whole lives fighting. That was the only profession they knew. And they didn't care much who they were fighting for. Many didn't have a choice. They were forced to fight by their rulers. Some German princes made money by supplying soldiers to anyone who wanted them, who wanted to pay for them. The soldiers were called mercenaries. 30,000 German troops fought in America. Almost half never returned to Germany. Some of them died. Some chose to stay in the new country. That means they deserted and didn't fight anymore and decided to become Americans. The Americans are furious that the British would hire soldiers to fight them. After all, most still thought of England as their mother country. Many Americans who were undecided about supporting the revolution became patriots when they saw the mercenaries. Okay, so yeah, that was a big deal. Remember, at the beginning of the revolution, 1/3 were Tories, 1/3 were patriots, and 1/3 were undecided. As the war kept going on and Britain sent over armies to shoot Americans, that 1/3 undecided started going right to the patriot side, most of them. Some probably went Tory too, I'm sure, but most of them went patriots. And obviously the hiring Germans really angered Americans, so that caused a lot of people to become patriots as well. And even some Tories to revert and switch and become patriots. All right, well, I hope you enjoyed that, and you have a colonial map to fill in today. Some questions, okay? So read the map, and you're going to be able to keep that map, obviously, digitally, And next Monday, you'll have an assignment also, but that'll be a map fill-in, but you'll have that map to go on and to get the answers from. All right. Well, have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye.